who comes and stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good afternoon. Happy Monday afternoon. I already did one this morning and did one this one's going to be a little different in the fact that it's not really going to be AA based. So I thought I would qualify that first. Although AA is kind of attached to this, it is not going to be one of my usual inspirational daily trudges, but it will be educational. Amber, good to see you. She says, I'm first, bitches. Well, Amber, you have an advantage. You're the only person that I let know that I go live. Used to be a couple people, but people kind of got mad at me. Michelle, good to see you. Good to have you both. Yeah. So I'll get started on it here in just a minute. I usually like to let people get on. Leisure, good to see you. I'm sure a lot of my regular people will be here, but I'd like to preface it again. This one is not a usual daily trudge. It is more educational than it'll be more educational than it will be inspirational. I'll be utilizing some of my opinions. I will let you know when they are opinion. I'll be utilizing some of my experience, and I have 35 years of it in this field. So I kind of know what I'm talking about. Now, this doesn't mean that I know better than other people, but, I don't see a reason to bring up a problem without the solution. And the solution is pretty well written out. It's pretty well written out. All right. So, at one point, so I got to see what blah, blah. Anyway, no, I really want to say what they said. All right. Anyway, that person's one of the problems. All right. Let's do some introductions. I'm just always curious to see how people reply to what I say. Welcome to Daily Trudge. This will be my 201st episode. I hit 200 episodes on Podbean. They're a little off, by the way. I actually have closer to 3,000. I actually have closer to 3,000 videos. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. It wasn't until about a month ago that I started putting the Daily Trudge on my Podbean. So that's not even really an accurate count. Not only that, but I removed about 30 podcasts of stories of people because, well, they were full of shit. They were full of shit. And I did not see the reason why they should be spreading bullshit. Found out one was a body broker, took him down immediately. Yeah, sorry, my morals will not allow for me to support bullshit. Let's get started. When I started working in this field back in 1990, it's when I entered the field of alcoholism. I had about a year sober, a little over, probably it was more like a year and a half. I applied for this company called Arapahoe House. My mom worked there. I knew some people. And Arapahoe House at the time was one of the top rated treatment centers in Colorado. All right. I'm going to let one other person know that I'm live because she might be interested. So while I'm talking here, I'm going to do a little bit of typing, right? So I got the job. I did get the job, and I went to work for Arapahoe House. I was the youngest person. I was 20 years old, and I was the youngest person that had received a CAC in Colorado. From my understanding, I still am. Not sure. Not that it matters. I went to work at Abraham Lincoln High School as one of the drug and alcohol counselors. I had a boss. It's probably more like an assistant, right? Because this guy had education. I worked with a guy named Bernie. Yeah, cool motherfucker. He was a really cool guy. I really enjoyed working with him, and I was with Arapahoe House for a few years. During that time, because it's a high school, right? So I had summers off. Hey, Julia. Yeah, I just sent you another link because I didn't know if you'd be interested in this. This conversation kind of got spurred because one of Julia's friends, and Julia, feel free to put the link to or the video or whatever in here to your friend Adam talking about recovery. I didn't get to watch all of it, but it seemed pretty interesting. And good on him, man. Good job. We need people speaking the right things, and it's kind of neat. Gives us a little bit of hope. Okay. At this time, Colorado was in the top 5 in the states, in the country, for recovery services. Arapahoe House was was ranked number 5 treatment center in the country. If you walked into an AA room at that point, if you didn't get there 10 minutes early, you were standing. We didn't have a shit ton of meetings, but we had regular meetings. You go to a meeting and Al-Anon and Alateen would be going on at the same time, most likely, usually about 60% of the time. Friday night, we'd meet up at Friday Night Lights. Leisure might remember some of this, right? We'd go meet downtown at the church for Friday Night Lights. Okay. And it was always the same thing. See, what you did is we piled in cars. We would meet at the Primary Purpose Club. We'd all pile into one car because there was no parking. And we kind of did everything together. We played volleyball together. We went bowling. We did all sorts of neat stuff together, right? Okay, there it is. There it is. Maybe I'll try and put it on here. I'd be happy to do that. I think you sent it through Messenger. I'll have to grab it. There it is. Okay. All right. So we're going to take this. All right. I'll get to it here. So anyway, I'm just kind of giving you a view of what it was like when I came in the first time, right? And at that point, I started working for a place. Actually, I got out of the field for a little bit, went to work for Boyer's Coffee, did some things. Boyer's Coffee, the man that ran that place, Bill Boyer, he died with over 50 years of sobriety. People that worked there were in sobriety. They were in recovery, right? So like everything that I touched, everything and where I went, there was recovery. But during this time, I would do family counseling. I would help with group counseling. I did a lot of different things while I was working for Arapahoe House. I was kind of a jack of all trades. I still kind of am, where I kind of know enough to be dangerous, right? I went to here's the big one. I went to work at Washington House, and every morning I'd come in and I'd have a stack. I'd have a stack of files, and these were the people that I had to talk to see if they wanted help and discharge them, right? That was my job, right? You did meet Boyer? Oh God, he was nuts. The guy was nuts. He yelled at me one day. He's like, "You got fucking wet brain or something, boy?" I helped him move his house twice. He lived at Lookout Mountain. Met his boys. They were horrible people. Anyway, that's a different story. But and I was working at Washington House Detox, which is still around today. And everybody that worked there was in recovery. Yeah. You had at least a year of sobriety, and we worked together. Okay, we would work together. There weren't caseworkers. Oh, has she? It's screening it? Then I will put it right into here. I'll put it right into here. Fuck YouTube. We'll circumvent them then. And I went to work for Washington House. All right. Really neat things happened there. A lot of really cool things happened. I enjoyed that job. I did. I enjoyed it. I loved working detox. And why? Because I was able to help people. Now, I'm going to tell this part and then I'm going to kind of be skipping around a little bit. Okay. Because I had another experience with detox about a year and a half ago, probably 2 years ago at this point. East Metro Detox. And it was the worst fucking job I had. Anyway, right? It wasn't AA this and God this and that. No, we were helping people. All right. In order for me to work there, I had to have my CAC, which meant a certain amount of educational hours. It was about 500, I believe, 600, okay, of education hours. So I had to work, and I had to, you could work as like an understudy, but not at detox, and that's kind of what I was doing when I worked with Bernie at the school at Abraham Lincoln High School, right? Which was really fun because I was 20 at the time, and people constantly asked me for my hall pass. I would tell them I'm one of the drug and alcohol counselors. I can walk around the school. In fact, I'm trying to track people down. And I was really good at tracking people down because I was still kind of young, so I could mix in and things like that. So what I would do is I'd go out to the smoking area and I'd play hacky sack. And the clients always showed up. I'm like, okay, time to go to group. That's why they loved me so much, because I would do things like that. Right. But when I was working at Washington House, let's say I had 10 people that day. I would send 6 or 7 of those people to treatment. Every time I went to work, I sent over half my people to treatment. And do you know how long it took them to get them to treatment? About as long as it took for them to get their stuff together and get discharged, because we went straight to treatment. And there's one of the missing links right now where we have a problem. So I'm doing this a little backwards, where I'm giving you the solution before I'm presenting the problem. A little bit of the solution. Okay. And treatment was run by people with that were caseworkers that had their bachelor's degree, that were educated, but not necessarily recovering alcoholics. And we need these people. Now it's backwards. We have people that are non-alcoholic working in the detox, and they do not have the depth and weight that it takes to get somebody help. Not only that, but there's no resources. And when I say no resources, I mean there's no resources. Okay. Which for the last 4 years, I've been working diligently on resources. Pretty hard to do when all the money is spent, though. I mean, it's all gone. There's no money. Thankfully, we have an answer that doesn't require money, right? So, love that job. It was a great job. I would move on. Okay. A lot of you know that I had a substantial amount of sobriety. I had 12 years at one point. And I went back out, and I will tell why I went back out, because I stopped working on the program, because sobriety lost its priority. I get married, have a couple kids, life gets in the way. I'm so busy. Before you know it, you're not going to meetings, you're not working the program, you're not connected with people in the program. Even though I would continue to take jobs for counseling, like I worked at Lookout Mountain School for boys for a little bit. Working with some pretty hardened criminals, kids that had committed murder and stuff. So I've always kind of been in the field of being able to help others. But I went back out, and I was out for 15 years. And there's a part of me that still beats myself up. I know there's nothing I could have done about it. I know it. I know it's my ego. I know it's my pride that beats up on myself, because if I wouldn't have gone out and I would have stayed in this field, this bullshit would not have fucking happened on my watch. I know this sounds rude, but the boomers fucked it up. because they did nothing. They did nothing. Sorry, but it was their generation. Anyway, and I'll describe that. I'll get to that. So I come back. It's time for Dion to get sober. So what do? Well, I go to the one place I know is going to fucking help me. That I know is going to help me. And I was wrong. See, I was living in this dream world. I didn't know. I couldn't see everything going on. So I checked myself into detox. And I instead of working there, I was now the client. I was on the other side. In 2 years, I begged for help for 2 fucking years. For 2 fucking goddamn years, I begged for help, and nobody lifted a finger. I was confused. I'd ask for resources. They'd hand me a piece of paper. And now, after I'd been going for a few times, I started to figure it out. I would ask people, are you in recovery? No. Are you in recovery? No. Is there anybody here that works here that's in recovery? No. No wonder nobody could help me. There wasn't anybody there to help me. During this time, I was going to AA, and for 2 years, I begged for fucking help, and nobody lifted a finger. See, I couldn't hear what they were saying. When I was walking around towards those last 2 years, it was like water in my ears, literally. I didn't know how to walk. I didn't know how to talk. And every time they would ask, is anybody here willing to sponsor? I raised my hand. For 2 years, I did. I kept raising my hand. I was going to Primary Purpose, Bill's Brown Baggers. Nobody was helping me. And I helped start that fucking meeting. That's why it hurts. So for 2 years, I begged for help, and people just let me fall through the crack and fall through the crack and fall through the fucking cracks. Yes. Including AA. Because they decided to get lazy and replace the line of who here is looking for a sponsor to who here is willing to sponsor. The fact that we even have to put willing in there or ask the question tells you something is wrong. It's called laziness. It's called resting on our laurels. Okay. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with somebody asking somebody else to be their sponsor. I'm all for it. But it is not the question to be asked. Why? You're the recovered alcoholic. You're the one with the clear mind. You're the one having the spiritual experiences. You're the one that has an intuition that is correct and in line with God's. So fucking follow it. Listen to it. I was begging for help. And it wasn't until 2 things happened. 2 things happened. Number one, yes, I was still checking myself into detox. Here we are with George Roos. George, you just made a very, very big mistake by coming on here and doing that. In fact, I remember your name. Oh, and that's not George, that's Jorge. Jorge Ruiz. You didn't, dude, that's not your name because you didn't even spell it right. Okay, but come on here. Here it is. And here's part of the problem. See, here, God's just displaying it for us. Here's part of the problem right here. This guy's on here saying, he knows that it's a recovery place. He knows that I'm trying to help people, but he ain't even going to stick around. He doesn't even have a picture. And he's sitting here, oh, here we go. Here's mushrooms. Mushrooms can help improve your mental health, self-esteem, relief from things like BPD, panic attacks, chronic pain, bipolar, autoimmune disease, PTSD, ADHD, depression, brain fog, anxiety, and other mental disorders. Yeah, and it's not true. It has not worked. It didn't work in the past, and it ain't gonna fucking work now. And you just made a big mistake because most people here are going to come to your page. I won't even have to do it this time. But we are going to do this. There it is. He's been blocked. Unfortunately, I can't get rid of his thing up there. All right. So that means I'm going to have to mushrooms. You shouldn't be able to. Okay. Anyway, so I asked. It's his TED talk. Oh, he's gone. He's gone. George, or I'm sorry, I'm saying your name wrong. Jorge with a G. Do you have anything else you'd like to say? You are more than welcome to join in on the chat. Or are you just here to peddle your mushrooms, you fucking piece of shit? Oh, I said it when things are opinion. That was an opinion. All right. So I begged for help. Two things happened. I'm going to tell you. Two things happened. Number one, I kept putting myself in detox because I know something about me. I knew that if I kept giving myself the consequence of taking my freedom, I would quit. I knew that. So is there a prayer for AA? Yes, there is. I think I'm answering your question correctly or understanding it correctly. I'm taking out, is there a prayer for AA? Like, are we going to die? No, we're not. No. I am nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. Here's the thing, and I'll cover this real quick. Okay, when it comes to shrooms, microdosing it can work. I'm not saying it doesn't. But I don't know. My brain doesn't understand microdosing. I'm like, I don't know. Doing that every week or every day, just a little bit, is not a good thing. No, once every 6 months. See, I'm already off. See, that's why it doesn't work. Because the alcoholic brain doesn't work like that. It doesn't. Our brains don't do that. So, two things happen. Number one, I was checking out for the last time. I didn't know it at the time. And the guy said, Dion, do you know how many times you've been here? I said, no, I do not. He said 22 times in the last 2 years. Thankfully, Arapaho House closed down and I didn't have to pay that bill. We'll get to why Arapaho House closed down. Yeah. And it was done intentionally. It was done on purpose. Yes, it was. So that people could have power and control. Because that's what this is all about. What's the other thing that happened? Well, when I got home, I could see the pain in my wife's eyes, and I knew she couldn't take any more of my bullshit. And I knew I had to do something. So I went back to Bill's Brown Baggers, even though no one was helping me. It was the only place I knew to go. And finally, somebody approached me after the meeting. His name was Paul A. And he approached me and he said, Dion, you have got to find God. You have got to find God now. And I'm going to do that for you. Bam. That was it. It was all it took. It was all it took. I didn't know who to ask in the room to be my sponsor. And I'll tell you something now. Okay. I do have a sponsor now. It took me 5 fucking years to find that sponsor. And I looked around. 5 years. I'm coming up on 9. Right? He's been my sponsor, I don't know, 7, 8 months now. Not even a year. All right. So let's move forward a little bit, right? So I worked in that detox, right? It was great. We were helping a shit ton of people. The camaraderie in AA. You'd be driving down the street, honk, honk. Oh, I'm a friend of Bill W. too. Hi. Bill W. You know Bill W. You a friend of Bill W.? Protected by Smith and Wilson. Instead of Smith and Wesson, it was Smith and Wilson. Right? You'd see somebody with a bumper sticker on the back that says one day at a time. You're like, yeah, another friend. Yeah, everywhere you went, you were reminded of the fact that you were in the program, and it was a beautiful thing. Right? But it got perverted. Even step 13 got perverted. Step 13 means you died sober. That's what step 13 means. And I'm going to try and go back to that, but good luck on that, right? It's too late. It's already been put in everybody's brain. Kind of like the whole progress, not perfection thing going around. That is not an AA slogan, by the way. That's just a line out of the big book taken out of context, right? Oh, yeah, good point. He was my sponsor. No, he wasn't my sponsor yet. He wasn't. He just showed up for my birthday last year. Good catch, Amber. I appreciate that. I think it was after that talk. So let's call it a year. Let's call it a year because Dion sucks with time in his head. Okay. So I'm going to take you now. I'm a few years sober the second time. And I'm like, okay. Because at this point, I think I was 3-4 years sober, actually. Goes from, 3 or 4 years sober because I had worked through a lot of my PTSD issues. I could now start, and I was already doing this and everything else. And then I'm like, maybe I should go back to work at Detox because I love working at Detox. I love it. So what did I do? I applied for a position at Washington House Detox. I get an email back saying, "Dear Mr. Miller, we appreciate you applying, but you do not qualify. You do not qualify to work at Detox." And so I did some digging. I'm like, okay, things are starting to make sense. Because I'm like, nobody helped me at Detox. Somebody needs to be there to help, right? Right. Because they weren't in recovery. So, and this is where we failed. When I worked at Washington House Detox, we got paid one way. That was a success rate. And you know what it did? It kept us accountable. I don't give a fuck how long you've been sober. I don't care what you do. If you work in this field and you are not accountable, you're going to fuck it up. You will. You'll fuck it up. You're an alcoholic. You'll make decisions all on your own. You'll think that this is what the person needs without even asking. You will do a bunch of shit thinking you know better. And I know because I've watched it for years. Right? So we got paid by success rate. And remember, we were always in the top 5. So what does that mean? That means we got most of the money. And we did wonderful things with it. Nobody was driving around a fancy car. Nobody was living in a nice house. In fact, the owner of Arapahoe House, Joe Wright, who is my mother's sponsor, okay, I have a lot of ties to all this. That's why I know it. Okay, I went to her house. She lived in a small, quaint 2-bedroom house, and she owned the 5th best treatment center. She drove around a crappy ass car. She wore secondhand clothes. The money didn't go to her. It went back to the community. It went to helping more people. She would have to use her own resources like a food bank, clothing stores. Yes, it's what we did. It's called sacrifice. Something a lot of people nowadays just don't seem to fucking understand. All right. So I'm like, oh, well, why did I not get hurt? Because I didn't have a bachelor's degree. See, all my time being sober, all the time in the field, it mattered for nothing because I didn't have a bachelor's degree. And then I figured it out. I did some research. Now detoxes are paid one of two ways, either by success rate or by hiring people with bachelor's degrees. If you hire by bachelor degree, you get your money right away. If you do it by success rate, you got to wait because you got to wait for the success, but there's more money in it. So what they went for, they went for the easier, softer way. And that is why our detoxes suck. That's why our detoxes in Colorado suck. Okay. I went back and so I went to work. Okay. So I'm going to actually go a little bit more. This is probably going to be more than an hour, just so you know. Okay. What I did was this. I started approaching these places and I lit up a shit storm. Oh, I lit up a shit storm. I was calling everybody out. Probably not how I would do it now. And now we have peer support. You're welcome. Good deal. Good job, Dia. Having a degree in alcohol abuse doesn't count. No, it does not, unless it is a bachelor's degree in it. But if you just go to classes, then you can become a drug and alcohol counselor. But why would you be working at Detox if you did that? See? No. Okay. Okay. So I went to work for East Metro Detox about a year. I don't know. It's a couple of years. within the last 3 years, we'll call it that. Right? I could not believe the shitstorm. I could not believe the amount of body brokering I saw. I called one place out. Okay. By this time, everybody kind of knew who I was, because I'm going to go back a little bit more, because I became a recovery coach after all that kind of happened. I couldn't find people like, well, you should be a recovery coach. I'm like, that's a great idea. I'd love to help. What a great concept. And recovery coaching and peer sport, I think, is a great concept. I helped start it, but it got perverted because people will not take accountability, because they won't take accountability. Imagine that, alcoholics not taking accountability. We call that two-stepping. And the recovery field is full of nothing but two-steppers. 95% of them are two-steppers. Okay. So I go to work there. Number one, I'm limited in what I can do. Okay. I'm going to give a few examples. The biggest argument there at the time was whether or not the client should have Netflix or not. Oh, well, if they watch Breaking Bad, I mean, that's going to make them relapse. Where are they going to relapse? They're locked up in detox. And they wouldn't listen to me. My boss wouldn't listen to me. I would say things like, how come there's no AA literature? And my other peer support people usually, I'm not going to go that far. That's name calling. Would say AA is not the only way. I'm like, I know. Then show them your way. Then let's get that stuff in here too. Which way do you think? Which route did you take? Oh, well, I didn't really do anything. I just kind of got sober and I got a good attitude. So nothing. They did nothing. The peers would hold groups, and there'd be videos about this guy from the Army talking about positivity. It did nothing. In the time that I was there, okay, and when I came in, I didn't have a set of clients, and I kind of helped everybody. I just where I was needed, right? At one point, they said, Dion, you have $5,000 you can spend. So I put together a bunch of stuff to get AA literature in there and get all these things. In the meantime, I started 3 new AA groups while I was there. Could not run any of them because I was working there, right? So I couldn't do that. I could sit in on them, but I couldn't say nothing, okay? These were being done by recovery coaches that I found out later never went to AA. So that didn't help me, all right? And 3 times I put in the request to have that stuff done. Not once did they write me a check. No. And I just went back to do a tour because I'm supporting somebody about a month ago. Still nothing. The greatest improvement he had to tell me, Malcolm Job, he's not in recovery. There's no anonymity to be blown. Right? This guy has an ulterior motive. He's a great talker, but he doesn't do anything. The best news they had to give me, that he moved up his office was now on the 3rd floor instead of the 1st floor. So he was more easily accessible. I'm like, we didn't need easily accessible. We needed good resources. They were still using the same resources, even though I had proven to them time and time again that these people were body brokering. Yep. That they were body brokering. I showed them proof that these people had committed Medicaid fraud. They don't care. Okay. So while I was working there, I sent probably a few people to sober living, not one person to treatment, because treatment plays the Medicaid game now. We'll get into treatment. Okay. But I had money for one thing, to send them out of town. I put more people on buses to other states than anything else. I wasn't able to help one person. I didn't help anybody. I probably did with talking and things like that, but in a sense that the resources. So at that point, I'm like, well, I need to have resources. Oh, we went back. I got to go back to the recovery coach thing because I was a recovery coach first, right? Okay. And this is what happened. This is what happened. I became a recovery coach and I went to work for this company. I'm not going to bring up some of the names because it doesn't matter. It does matter actually a lot, but and you should have heard some of the shit that was said. Okay. And these are people today. So that are still running things. In fact, they work for the Office of Behavioral Health. They're in a lot of government assistant places, right? We'll kind of get into that. Thank you for hanging on. Shit, I appreciate it. So when I was a recovery coach, the news came out that we could start taking insurance. And that is when the shit hit the fan. Just yesterday, in my memories on Facebook, the place I was working for started some AA meetings, and at the very bottom it said suggested donation that will go straight towards scholarships. What does that tell you? They don't know their traditions, and to this day they don't. They call them all recovery meetings, and they hold them at these places I will name: Mount View, Free Spiritual Community, which I call Body Brokering Central. The man that runs that place is a horrible dude. Anytime a preacher's son gets a hold of recovery and opens up a place, well, death follows. I'm not kidding. They've killed people. All right. So the insurance. You want to know one of the first things I heard? Yay, we can go for the low-hanging fruit. That's their thought process. That was one of the first things I heard. There was a fight for Douglas County. For nobody, if you don't live in Colorado, Douglas County is our rich county. That's a county where, there's more money for that county than anything else. If you go to jail, you want it to be Douglas County because, they order food. All right. Why is that? I'll tell you why. Medicaid pays on average $17 to $19 an hour when you help someone, and then you put it into what's called a billing, right? And there's another company that does the billing. They take a little small portion. Everybody gets their little money. Okay. Excuse me. Blue Cross Blue Shield, $70. Okay. One is a government assistance. The other one is self-pay insurance. Self-pay insurance pays more, and therefore Douglas County was gold. I wasn't even doing anything in Douglas County, and I was asked to get the fuck out of Douglas County. Those were the exact words. I started to get into it with the company that I was working for because I started to see some devious things. Now, when you are a recovery coach, a peer support specialist, a therapist, anybody that is a person of trust, you need to do what is called supervision. And it's done on your time, an hour each month, where you work with somebody who has a certain degree that makes sure you're doing things right. So I was doing supervision with them. And then I found out they were charging my Medicaid. I'm an employee. They're charging my Medicaid for supervision. That's what we call Medicaid fraud. And I called them out on it. Hornbuckle Foundation. None of them are listening. Here's the Hornbuckle Foundation. Okay. Still around today. Supported by the Attorney General, by the way, and we're going to get to that next. And I confronted them on it. They didn't have an answer for me. The next answer was, Dion's crazy. And suddenly I was excommunicated by everyone. Nobody would answer my fucking phone call. And I remember every single one of them. That includes places like Sober Underground, Free. They're in on it. Anybody that utilizes AA to make money just fucking irks me. And Sober Underground is very much doing that. Yes, they are. Guy. With their religious bullshit. Anyway, so I called them out on it. Right? And I got blacklisted because recovery in Colorado is now about popularity more than it is anything else. It is. It's the number one thing. You don't do what they do, they will mock you. They will put you down. Complaint after complaint after complaint. right? So what I did is I got in contact with the Attorney General's office. I set up a meeting with a director. So not the Attorney General. The directors are right underneath the Attorney General. They report straight to the Attorney General. This man and I were on the phone for 2 hours. And I told him everything going on because there was a lot more. Okay? Not anything we need to cover here. There's a lot more. And he caught I told him about the Medicaid fraud, and he caught the body brokering. Right? And you're probably wondering body brokering. So I'm gonna get to that now. Okay. This is the way the body brokering usually works, and why places like Free Community are bullshit. What they do is they go to AA meetings, these recovery coaches and stuff, manages their sober livings. And what they will do is they will approach a newer person, usually 2-3 months, feeling better now, doing better, that stage, the pink cloud. And they pretty much tell them, you don't need AA. You know what you need to do? You need to become a recovery coach. You'd be really good at that, right? Well, what are we? Well, we're a lonely people. This is pure manipulation. Pure manipulation. They pull it. We're going to make you a recovery coach is what we're going to do. And they get all excited, and they go take their 60 hours of education, which is just counseling 101 and a ethics class taught by a person who committed Medicaid fraud. I'm not kidding. That's everything I'm saying here is the truth. Okay? And then they're like, you know what? We're going to do you one better. We're going to make you the manager of a sober living. So now this person who can't even wipe their own ass, who hasn't been through any steps, who hasn't really done anything, is now a sober living manager. This is going to overwhelm them. And you know what happens? They relapse. Now what are they? A client. That is body brokering. It is. They keep them sick. The last complaint I heard was a lot of these RCOs, what they were doing is and this is why we have no money this year for recovery services. Okay. The same people I'm talking about, what they were doing is they were getting $25 for every signature that they got, said where they were helping somebody and got their insurance, right? And they were trading those signatures for drugs at these hotels and motels where they all hang out. Yeah, it's exactly what they were doing. And they got paid $25 for each signature for handing out dope. So I'm talking to this director. He catches the body broker. I'm like, I was going to bring it up, but I didn't know if it was something you dealt with. He's like, oh, we definitely deal with that. This is what I was told, Dion. This is what I'm going to do. You gave me 3 people. I'm going to contact them next. And within the next 48 hours, my assistant is going to send you all of my information, my email, my phone number, so that you can get in direct contact with me, so that if you have any questions, we can get it taken care of. You have a fantastic case here. And I'll tell you what happened next. Nothing. And I gave him the names of who was doing it. Nothing. 4 years now, they still won't reply to me. Even when I write them, they won't reply to me anymore. I'm on the no contact list or something. And that's what happened. 9 months later, they all got caught in Medicaid fraud. $80,000. It was an $85,000 chargeback. Well, if Medicaid only, that doesn't seem like a lot in the grand scheme of things. So this is the big number. Well, if Medicaid pays $17, $18 for each one of those, well, you divide that, it's over 4,000 times. That's a lot, isn't it? That's a lot. Knowingly. And then they were putting it through a billing place, right? Called Consortium, not prescription drugs. It was a different called Consortium. Okay, they were a billing place for Medicaid. right? Well, the person they were sending it into doing the billing had already gotten caught in Medicaid fraud and wasn't even supposed to be in the field, right? Now, let's get to today. Let's get to last year. Okay. The Attorney General's office on paper, in emails, out loud, has said that he supports these people. In fact, these same people made the decisions on the abatement money. You know what they decided to do with the abatement money, which was millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars, by the way? They put roofs on sober livings, new roofs. And it just so happens that the person heading all that, well, gee, her husband got the contract. It was that was the Sackler money. They were supposed to be educating people on opiates and death and fentanyl. They were supposed to be educating, and Narcan, and what it's about. Not one event. And in fact, they made so much money, there's no money this year. Let's talk about sober livings. Sober livings is the biggest fucking money maker in Colorado right now. There is a government program called CAR. It's Certified Something Recovery Residents. The board of directors, and it's government funded. Okay, the board of directors, well, gee, they're all sober living owners. Every single one of them. And most of them were the people that committed the Medicaid fraud. And they're the ones making the decisions on where your money goes, how it's spent. I'm going to tell you something. They don't give a fuck about your children. See, when alcoholics get sober and they don't find God, they go after one of two things. Money or sex. And it's true. It's true. So what does that mean? It means that the Attorney General is taking kickbacks on sober livings. That's why he's ignoring me. I can tell you this. If Michael Weiss ever comes face to face with me, they're going to have to call the fucking cops. Because I will not get out of that man's face. Oh, I ain't going to touch him, but I will get in his fucking face. Yes, I will. Right? Here's the only fentanyl event that they did. And it's okay. So last summer, I think it was last summer. Yeah, it was last summer before. See, I don't remember. I don't know if any of you remember, but I started a whole series on fentanyl and telling stories. It didn't quite work out, but I put together an event. We were doing it in Arvada, right? And it was on a certain day at a certain time. I had certain speakers. Right? It was a sheriff from Adams County. From Arvada. Right? I ended up canceling it because I felt like I was out of my lane. I'm like, we need somebody better than me to be doing this. And I couldn't quite put it together. Well, surprise, surprise. You know what Free did? Okay. They did the same exact event, the same day, the same time. And because of the Hornbuckle's popularity, they stole my speakers. See, they didn't hold that event in order to educate. They held the event because they hate Dion. That's why they held the event. But what that does, it just gives me all the power, right? That gave me the power. And it's worse than this. I'm just not remembering ever. It's hard to describe all of this and keep it in line so that you understand it and what's really going on. So what's the solution? Fire them all. The government needs to get out of recovery. So let them stop interfering with it. Okay. Now, what are they doing with AA? Because they're just not invading the AA meetings. You heard of our thing called the Bridge the Gap because the detoxes and the treatment won't work together anymore because of money. Now, why is that? Let's talk about that first. Okay. If a treatment center has a detox in Colorado anyway, they're no good. Treatment centers should not be in the detox game. No. And I will tell you why. It's all Medicaid fraud. Okay. Because I have been getting complaints, and it's always people with Medicaid. It is never the self-pay insured. It is always Medicaid people. Okay. People that have Medicaid. All right. So you call it, you have Medicaid. Okay, well, we don't really have too many Medicaid beds because we're pieces of shit and we like to get paid and drive our Porsches and shit. But we have one coming available in like 2 weeks. Okay, I'll be there. They show up and they are denied because they are not drunk, because they are not high on meth, because they haven't been doing fentanyl, and they're denied treatment. See, they don't make much money off those Medicaid beds. They make more money off the crisis service that they provide for 2 to 3 days. They want you to go through their detox or they don't make any money. And that's why treatment is bullshit in Colorado. Yeah, there you go. Just another way of them doing it. And they're involved in every little thing on. They are dug in. They're dug in. So Bridge the Gap. Okay. Now you can sign up for Bridge the Gap. I get them every now and again. Actually, they removed me from the list since I complained that they were abusing it, which AA has no right to do, by the way. And I called central office and I said, hey, why are you guys having your Bridge the Gap meeting actually in person this time? It's always been online, but now it's going to be in person. And why are you doing it at Free Spiritual Community? And how much are you paying them? And why are you paying them when we could have just met on Zoom? Because it's Body Brokering Central. That's why. Oh, look over here. You could be popular. We'll make AA this. We'll make AA that. Fuck you. No, that's not what's going on. All they're doing is centrally pulling everybody together so that they can body broker more, so they can make more fucking money. Okay? You can go down there like, oh, we have great coffee, and it goes towards, we're alcoholics. Make that fucking shit thick and sitting in a pot for 2 hours. Right? So now, Bridge the Gap. Well, gee, they don't even have to go to the AA meeting anymore. They go pick them up from treatment, start body brokering right away. Utilizing AA, abusing the AA system because the people in AA are too weak to say anything because they don't know their fucking traditions. Everybody just forgot the traditions exist. Hardly anybody seems to know about them anymore. There's a lot of abuse going on with money in AA itself. I will not give to the central office. No, if your meeting gives to the central office, I will not donate in your meeting, period. Okay. So Bridge the Gap, you sign up and you pick somebody up from treatment and take them. Thank you, Clara Joyce. We needed a little bit of laughter. The coffee must have depth and weight. That's hilarious. We're going to go for that. All right. So what they're doing is they're just skipping that whole part. Yeah, now that AA just made it easier for them to body broker. Do you want a part of that? I don't. I don't want a part of it. I've been yelling and screaming it for 3-4 years. Now people are literally coming back to me saying, Dion, you were right. I'm like, I know. And here's the next right thing that's going to happen. I'm telling you, now they're desperate. Oh, they'll do anything to get your money out because they already spent all the money. They don't have any more left. They spent it on going to, they took our abatement money. Not only did they put roofs on sober livings, they went to fucking Hawaii, like 20 of them. Oh, living our best life on your Sackler money. Okay. And everybody's running around. They're scared about the trans are scared, the gay are scared, the white people are scared, all these people are scared, oh, for the children, for the children. If you want to protect your fucking children, then get out there in your community and do something. I'm protecting the children. I want your child to live so that they can be trans. I don't give a fuck about any of that. I don't. But if they ain't alive, then how in the fuck are they going to be anything? Get angry about the right stuff. Right? So everybody's in on it, including our own government, and they are not working for you. They are working against you. It is the Attorney General's office to protect us from Medicaid fraud and body brokering. But he is taking kickbacks so that these people can be on the board of directors, so that they can be involved in all these different things. So what do we do? What do we do? Well, one of the first things I'm doing is we're putting in a new detox, and it's going to be composed mostly of people that have recovered. I'm promoting certain sober livings and peer coaches, because when they hire peer coaches, they have to have 500-600 hours of COPA, and they don't let you do that bullshit. I'm putting together a website right now where if you need help, if you need to find a peer support, and I hire the right peer support people, and then I get them clients, and I take care of the peer support people so that they can do their job, help other people. There's a lot of things that you can do. Spend $100, put a public service announcement on a board. Recover out loud. Don't tolerate this bullshit. Don't spend your time, your money, your effort on any of this stuff that's bullshit. And most of it is. Most of it is. All right. Absolutely, Julia. Love is love. And we love our coffee. Share your experience, strength, and hope. Go to more meetings. Don't wait for somebody to ask you to be their sponsor. Go snag them before a recovery coach does. See, you're aware of it now. And now you're going to go to meetings. You're going to see it. You're going to see it. Recovery in Colorado is just a popularity contest. And if you don't do it the way that they say that you should do it, or you confront them, or they will do everything that they can to hide it. Everything that they can. Yes, Claire, service. I was walking into Kaiser the other day. I'm like, man, there's enough room here. I bet they'd let me put a table over there and talk to people about AA. And you know how much they would charge me? Probably absolutely nothing. Nothing. No. So the fact that there is no money this year, in a way, is a good thing, because it means that they're not going to be able to abuse like they did in the years previous. Some of these places will go out of business, which is a good thing. What needs to happen is everyone needs to be fucking fired, especially everybody at the Department of Health. Let me show you something. We'll do this, and then we'll kind of, then we will wrap up. No, it's not. Department. Yeah, that's going to take way too long. You guys are going to be like, okay, Deanna, it's been. If you go to the look for resources at the Department of Behavioral Health, and I've confronted them on it, all it does is lead you to their programs in the people body brokering. Not one mention of Alcoholics Anonymous. In fact, watch this. I need help with my alcohol abuse.
Help is available by calling 988-SUICIDE and Crisis Lifeline at 988.
So there, what comes up? Detox Locator, Refine Recovery, Numere Recovery Centers, Invigorate, SAMHSA, NADAC, Mayo Clinic, American Addiction Centers, Cleveland. How come Alcoholics Anonymous is not on here? It's not on here. Oh, there it is at the bottom. Why? Because it's a pay to play. It's a pay to play, my friends. Okay. Alateen, who is supposed to help our young people, Alateen is our best prevention that we have. It's Alateen that causes the prevention, that educates. 2 meetings. We have 2 Alateen meetings because the government stepped in and said, you have to have this huge background check. And the people in Al-Anon who's supposed to be running it refused to do it because why? They're being weak. Where's God? And by God, I mean courage. By God, I mean courage. Where's the courage? For the last 4 or 5 years, people have fucking called me every single name in the book. My life has been threatened over recovery services. Come on. Every single fucking thing has happened. I've never been treated so badly in my life by a community, by a recovery community, nonetheless. And I'm not done fighting. Oh, well, we stop fighting everything and everyone. I think you're missing the point. Now, let's use the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Well, I can't change that. Bullshit. Bullshit. That's bullshit. Stop thinking so small. Don't put the one thing I couldn't stand when I was in sales, think outside the box. What the fuck's your problem? But why are you in a box? When did the box appear? Why would you put yourself in a box? Well, think outside of it. What box? It doesn't exist. By bringing that up, you're actually condensing people to a smaller size. You do that. Okay. Now, I get it. You know, everybody can do something, right? And because if you did what I did, you may not be able to get done what you need to get done as far as like work goes and things like that. Okay. And I understand that. Got to take care of your family first. Got to take care of your bills. I'm going to tell you something. I don't fear these fucking people. I came from a rough fucking life, man. I'm used to violence. I watched it my whole life. Okay. So, no, these people don't scare me. Okay. And what's worse is they're a motorcycle gang. They think they're like the fucking Sons of Anarchy and stuff. It's horrible. You know what their name is for me? The Snitch. Did you know that I signed a contract with the state when I became a recovery coach that says if I do not report, I lose my job? What about the ethics class that you're doing? There, I'll kind of end with this, and then this kind. So the Colorado Consortium for Prescription Drugs, they're the ones that let this money out, and they didn't review it. They didn't look it over. In fact, they weren't aware that they had been spending money on sober living, and they won't contact me much back either, because they know they're caught, and they know that somebody needs to be accountable for them, and they know it's them. All right. They're like, because I was looking at some grants. I'm not big on grants because I can't seem to follow the rules that they put down. Okay. Like opening a detox and not letting them have sugar. Are you fucking stupid? Not letting them smoke. You're just making it worse. Oh, but we gotta, yeah, you gotta, whatever. I'm like, well, maybe some of these grants will do me some good. Maybe a transportation grant. They're like, okay, well, you have to take a couple of classes. One of them is an ethics class on how to spend the money. And the person running the ethics class was the number one person who committed Medicaid fraud. And I said something. I'm like, what are you going to do about it? They're like, nothing. You know, sometimes we just got to work through these things. Or the worst of all, I'm sorry you feel that way. How am I supposed to take an ethics class from somebody who has no ethics so that I can get to money? No. I would go to that class and just put that person down. I'd be like, why are you teaching the class? I would cause more confusion than harmony. And that's where the hard part comes up. How do I go to AA and tell everybody that they're naive and they have no fucking clue what they're talking about when they think they're right? How am I supposed to get a recovery coach who's been a recovery coach for 2 years but never done the work to go do the work so they can do it the right way? You can't confront these people on that. They'll just get mad. Alcoholics don't like being told what to do. So now you see my conundrum. Now you see the conundrum here. It's really, there's a lot of times I just keep my fucking mouth shut. Okay. So I wanted to make sure. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to make it easy on me. Damn, it just goes there though. I'm going to be doing a little research on Adam Vibe Gunton though. I can tell you that right now. And please don't take it wrong. There's a good chance I will find out that he's doing something wrong. I'm sorry, you just don't get on TV. But I love Julia. I've known Julia for a long time, and I trust her people. So that's why I'm going to do it, because I trust Julia. All right, because I don't know the guy worth it. Leisure says, I'm sorry you feel that way is a surefire answer to, answer to any confrontational conversations. When I was let go, okay, because when try reloading the page, I don't know if you can get to that or not. It says it won't let me post it. Whatever. Anyway, fuck them. I can say whatever. I say what I want in my show. This is my fucking show. When I was working at East Metro, I had some problems, and I don't know how many people were listening to me at the time, but I moved from Aurora, Colorado, up here to Northglenn, which is a little further north. And so I wrote him because we were trying to figure out what I was going to do next with him, whether I was going to leave or whether the hours needed to change or something like that, right? I wrote him, I said, hey, I'm getting ready to move. Is there anything that's more up north that I could do? And let's try and go that route instead. And they wrote me back and said, we accept your resignation. Okay. And I wrote back, I said, fine, I'll wait for my exit interview then. Guess what never came? Never. I had to call Aurora Mental Health several times to get my exit interview. That lasted well over an hour. And the only answer she ever gave me was, I'm sorry you feel that way. She kept saying, and it just made me angrier and angrier. I'm like, this is a mental health company. And so at the end, they're like, do you have anything else? And I told her how much she pissed me off by the way she was handling things, right? Now I have the phone number to the person that runs Aurora Mental Health and her secretary, who I talk with quite often. Yeah. So I've made a lot of really good contacts. So let's kind of go on with this. Is there's a lot of great, there are some really good resources in Colorado. If you want a good peer coach, I would try allthewaywell.org. Okay. They got some great peer coaches over there. Dane's a great guy. He helps run it. Really cool dude. Great motherfucker. And if you're looking for therapy, Overcomers Counseling is a really good place. If you're looking for sober living, Elevate Recovery Homes is pretty good. Owned by the same person that runs allthewaywell.org. There's a couple of them there for you. Detoxes are hit and miss. Don't plan on getting any help there. Just plan on you being safe when you leave. That's about it. So, yeah. And Julie, I appreciate you contributing that. So maybe we can help get his word out a little bit more. So as long as he didn't say he was in AA, we're good. So and I haven't watched it yet, and I'll tell you why. I didn't want to make a judgment call because I'm kind of in a weird mood. I'm like looking for bullshit, and I didn't want to do that with that. So I'll probably wait till tomorrow to watch it when I'm a little bit more open-minded, if that makes sense. I just like giving things a fair chance if I can. Not only that, but this morning I got the news that an old sponsee of mine died. He died yesterday morning. All right. Dan Peel Stores says, oh, it's just the same guy up with a different name. Yeah. So there are some great resources out there. But yeah, so a friend of mine, and it was from alcohol. Yeah. He died from alcohol. So I don't like ending it that way, but I've met a lot of people in this program. A lot of people that I've known have died in this program. When I got sober the first time at 18, the closest person my age was 32. And all my litter mates, they're all dead. They're all dead. So like Chet and Joe and Orson and Terry and Ronnie and Michael and Ray Hayworth. All right. And I don't know why Dapamil store. And do you mind saying something else besides that? We don't work with cancer here. So you're just kind of, I'm not sure. But I'm gonna go ahead and visit Dr. McCauley's page. And I'm gonna give him a piece of my mind, and then I'm going to report them. And I'm going to actually comment on every single one of their posts. So they're gonna have a lot of deleting to do when I'm done. Don't fuck with me. I'm Gen X. Fuck around and find out. And you will. And you've already been here before. I recognize that picture. So, all right. Thank you, everybody else that was willing to listen to me for an hour and 15 minutes. If you think I couldn't run my own talk show, yeah, I can. I do this every day. Oh, I do it every day. I might be back a little bit later. Not sure, but I'll be more AA oriented like I usually am. So, all right. Thank you all. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it, except for the 2 times that mushrooms were tried to be peddled. Those people, I am not thanking you. Everybody else, my friends, my listeners, Leisure, who's being a smart ass, Clara Joyce, who made me laugh a little bit. I appreciate that. This stuff is not easy stuff to talk about. It is not. Right. But if you ever come here and I'm talking about something that's easy to talk about, well, then you ain't listening to me. I know that. I talk hard subjects, man. Hard subjects. So thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. I love you. Even if you hate me, I will continue to make sure your grandchildren live so they can have a better life. I love you. You know I do. Peace out. And